All right, cool. So this is building query, the first call in June 5th, 2020. And I think our planned agenda today is pretty lean. We just wanted to talk about some of the improvements that Chris has been coding into the front end, or the Qri Cloud front end, so the face of Qri Cloud, and where we want it to go. Chris, whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
You can take it over.
All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, so this of course is not Qri Cloud, this is Qri.io, but I want to show this first just so you can see some of the visual elements that we put in place. I guess we put this in maybe a month or two ago. It all blends together now. You know, the dark theme, the sort of dark blue and the white color contrast is present in desktop and is present in Qri.io, and that inspired a little bit of thinking around cloud. So this is the new front page for cloud. I'll just kind of scroll around and click around here. Things might not work because I'm still on a development branch, anyway, I'll just run through the list. So yeah, similar sort of header here, but we've got the dark blue instead of I think it was a tan before, and then front and center is this dataset search field where you can just start typing in and you'll get search results. Featured datasets looks mostly the same. We're still fixing the bug where this World Bank population showing up multiple times, but there's some refactoring a little bit in how datasets are presented in this sort of list or card view. So first and foremost is the most important thing on the page or in the card here is the title of the data set, and then the reference, which you see here is there. Whoops, I didn't mean to click. The reference is there, but we kind of move that into a monospace font. It's more developer centric, or something that you might want to look at, but it's not really the main event on getting this data set. Then we've got a couple of lines of the description. We've got some keywords over here, which we hope to be able to let you click on, and you can see everything that matches that keyword. I don't know if that'll be in this cycle or not. But yeah, those are our featured data sets. So we want to make that a little more dynamic and let us be able to plug and play different data sets there as we like them. And then a call to action to get more, to basically go to the search page if you click on find more data sets. We've also sprinkled in some of the same type of content from Qri.io. So, I think we found that like arriving on Qri Cloud, yes, it's very clear we're looking at data sets here, but what's Qri all about? And I don't think there was enough of that before. So here's just 3 of the 6 sort of feature teasers that we talk about on Qri.io, with another link back to Qri.io so you can learn what versioning is all about. And then below that, recently published, same thing, the cards are a little bit refactored here so that the title is more prominent and you get 2 lines of description. And then we also have this cool download count, which will be implemented very soon. The backend work is all done for that, or mostly done for that. And yeah, we should be able to actually have a good indicator of how many times something has been either pulled or downloaded from Qri Cloud. And then same thing down here is just, you should use desktop because you'll have a better time pulling and managing all of your local data sets. If you like Qri Cloud, you'll love, organizing things on Qri Desktop. So then when we click on a data set, I'll just start with World Bank population because it's easy. Actually, you know what? World Bank population doesn't have a README, so let's go find one with a README. Let's do Senate financial disclosures. Good. Okay, so this is the new dataset page. So you can see the same sort of, it still has a tabbed interface, but we moved a lot of this content up above the tabs, which is, the dataset reference, the title. We have another sort of very deliberate, like this has been published by a specific user and you can link back to that user. And then the pull and download buttons are prominent. This is in place of the clone button that used to be there. So if you click on download, oh, I don't have that branch loaded right now. Anyway, both of these will produce a little popover with instructions. So downloads will let you get either a zip file of the entire data set, which includes the metadata and the README and all that as files, or you can just get the body. And then pull will basically just be a little command line snippet that you can copy and paste so that you can just do query pull or query pull. So as we go down, There's no description, so this one says no description provided. So we've got basically stats about the data set, so you can see the type and the size and the number of rows. We've got this sort of more GitHub-y like you're on head, or you're looking at a preview of head right now, and here's the hash, or at least the last 7 characters of the hash. We've got the commit title, so you can see what happened for this commit. But this is all kind of secondary and subdued information, but it's still near the top in case you're surfing around lots of these. You want to be able to see very quickly which one you're on. And then we get into the components. So each one of these is now collapsible. So that's something I literally just implemented today. So we start with the README because just like with a GitHub repository, we've found that like this is the kind of easiest and best way to give really fast context to people because it's free form text. So you can write whatever you want in here, but it's kind of a here's what you need to know to get used to this data set, and it's all free form versus meta, which is much more structured but might not let you really sort of tell the story in human terms. So we can scroll down the README here. We actually refactored the CSS for the READMEs to be a little more familiar. So this should look very similar to what you would expect a markdown rendering for a README to look like. And we've got links in here and everything, so it's all looking good. Meta and structure are collapsed by default. So we considered these to be sort of secondary information. If we click on meta, you get this table, which is exactly the same component in desktop. So again, we show that it's just kind of showing the keys and values in a nice table here. And you can understand what the meta is, but generally we think that's less important, and people want to expand to open that, but we'd love to test that with some people and prove ourselves either right or wrong. Same thing with structure. So same thing, we've copied this directly from, we've copied this directly from the from Qri Desktop, so using some reusing some components there, and this gives us the full breakdown of structure, which this one doesn't have good titles, so it's probably not one to demo off of. And then last but not least is the body view, and here I'm actually still in the process of working on this one, but one little improvement here is the sticky header. So I'm trying to do the same with this number column on the left, so that'll be sticky. Nice. And it gives just a much nicer experience when familiarizing yourself with the data set. So that's that. And let me go now to, just go to my own profile page because we want to show that we have pagination on lists. So this is my profile page of all my data sets. We scroll down to the bottom. It'll now tell us that we're looking at 1 through 25 of 34, and we have a nice little pagination UI here where I can click and go to the second page. And now that I look at this, I'm kind of wanting the same info that I have here to be at the top so I know which page I'm on. So yeah, you can really surf Qri Cloud a lot better than you could before. So I click on this guy, I can come to here. And then one thing I didn't show yet is the history page. So let's go to...
One quick question, Chris.
Sure, yeah, please.
On your personal page, you still see every version of every data set is represented here, right? We haven't really talked much about structuring them as like sub data sets.
No,
right?
versions should be under a data set, so you should never see the same. You should never see versions listed twice. You shouldn't see the same data set listed twice in a list. So that's a bug we're still working on. Anyway, I'm going to find a data set here that has a good history, and I think this will be the same problem, is that we're not actually looking at the most current. So it's the same thing with the same bug as before, but let's see if we can find, I think if I go further down, actually, this will be more current. There we go. So this is our history view, and we can go back and see the full history of this data set going back to 2 months ago. And there's actually a few more versions of this. So we still need to work out there should be only one history view for a data set, but right now we're still looking at like the history as of an older version, which is not quite accurate. But you can see the information we've got here, similar UI that we have in desktop, where we can see this sort of like train tracks sequence of history. And then over here, you can actually click to look at the preview for that specific version. So that's not quite wired up yet either, but it'll look the same as the head preview, but it'll probably have some indicator that you're on an older version, just so it's much clearer that this is not current. And let's see if we can search for data. So if I type in search, same thing. So this looks mostly familiar as it was before, but the list items are different as usual. So once we get the download count working, I think this is kind of what we're looking at here, but pagination should also work down here as well. So I can click through to page 3 and keep scrolling down my list. So I think these are, table stakes improvements to make it much easier to navigate and surf Qri Cloud. And we hope that, people will have a better experience and start being able to find what they need and pull it down quickly.
Excellent. This is really beautiful.
Love it.
Any immediate questions or ideas or?
My only thing, and this is one of those things where like, I just noticed it because I was trying to do this, which was, I love that we have the hashish things on Cloud now. And it would be useful, I think, the same way that GitHub does the thing where you can click something to copy the full hash, not necessarily show the full hash, but click something to copy. Would have solved my problem 5 minutes ago. So if that's something that's like on the list of stuff, I think it would be super useful. I also really love the like UI decisions of like making the more developer centric things available and there, but like mono spaced and grayed out, because I know that those are things that I'm going to want in the future, but I know that other people aren't going to care about as much. So no, there's just like a whole bunch of dope changes. I'm super into it.
Thank you.
Yeah, second that. Looks real good.
Cool. Sorry.
Here, hang on. One more thing I want to show, because I switched branches because I really want everyone to see it, and it's relevant to what Casey just said. Let me see if I can share. All right, yeah. So here's the popovers I couldn't show before. Yeah. So here's download, which will just be a zip and CSV, and it tells you a little bit about what you're going to get. And then pull, if I copy, I get this nice little copied thing, and then I can paste in my query pull command. So now that we've got these copy buttons in place, we can replicate that wherever we need a quick copy of the dataset reference. So that'll be fun. So
awesome.
Just wanted to share that.
Qri Cloud looks really good, Chris.
Thank you. And thanks to everyone else who's been working on this stuff behind the scenes.
One very minor thing. I know this has been like a question in my mind whenever I've looked at like a data set that was updated many different times a long time ago. Like all we offer people in the default is like updated 2 months ago. Is it easier to just put like the timestamp of that last update?
Sure. I don't know. I mean, that's I guess that's a trade-off of, how specific do you want to be, but it would be great to be able to find out exactly when, if I want to.
The way that a lot of services do this, I think GitHub does, is that it shows like, updated 2 months ago, but if you hover over it, it'll pop up a tooltip that says the exact
okay.
timestamp.
I support that fully. Crossed my mind several times, but
yeah, I think it's the best approach.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Should I file an issue on Cloud for that?
Sure, let's do it.
Dope.
It's also much less time math.
Yeah.
Like when you're like going way back in history, like you have to do much less calculating, like when and what happened.
Yeah. Well, it's just when you have like 3 commits on the same day and it says 2 weeks ago, then you're like, okay, which one happened first? Or maybe they all happened within a few minutes of each other and they're really densely packed in. Anyway.
Very cool. This just begins my mind thinking about all the different ways I want to try to break Cloud again by putting in a picture that's the wrong size or the wrong format and all those other things.
Please do.
I will. All right, cool. Rusty, were you saying at the beginning of our call before we started recording there was another thing we wanted to talk about?
I can show them if you want, or you can show them, either way.
No, go for it.
It's simple. Let me see if I even have something to share. Yeah, I guess I do. And how do I share on desktop? Because I've been on web. Share. Papa issues. So this is added issue templates to Qri.io, the Qri repo. And if these are good with everybody who sort of hosts other repos, we'll move them to everything else really quickly. GitHub's changed a couple times how the issue templates work, and they're really pretty nice now. And so if you hit new issue now, you get a picker page, and bug report and feature request will give you a bit of a template, and support request will redirect you to Discord and get you an invite, and we'd
Nice.
love to see you there, and you can talk to us in help or general, and we can talk to you about your issues there or feature requests. And if you know what you want to file and where to file it, you can file a bug report with notes, and the only way to make comments and markdown is to turn it into HTML, and sort of tips to give your version info and everything, and headers to file a good, proper bug report. And please, if you see something, file it, and we'll work on it.
Awesome.
And that's really it. You can look at the feature request, but it's the same stuff.
Amazing.
That's all I got.
Very good.
Love it.
What's the URL for finding these?
If you just hit the new issue button, I mean, it works the
Oh.
same way it did before. If you hit new issue before, it gave you a blank box, and now it gives you a picker with 3
awesome.
types.
Very cool.
And I'm stopping sharing.
Very good. All right. Well, we successfully had a very nice little productive little demo without a V5. I'll call this a success. All right. If no one else has anything, we'll call that to a close, and we'll see everybody again for the Sprint L demo 2 weeks from now. I don't.
Man, we're getting to the middle of the alphabet.
Oh no!
It's terrifying.
It's June.
The middle of our lives. All of it.
All right, bye.
All right. See ya.
Night.
A good.